Welcome to the Unblock Your Business podcast. I'm Abby Rogers, success coach, business coach and hypnotherapist, and I help high achievers and business leaders master their subconscious habits for success, income goals and, above all, happiness. But success isn't just about mindset or strategy. It's about combining both and sealing the deal with a big dose of subconscious alignment, because our subconscious holds the true key to unlocking our potential. Let's dive in and look at how you can show up bigger, better and more uniquely aligned in life and business today. Hello and welcome back to the Unblock Your Business podcast. Today we are going to be having a look at what you should consider before you invest in your next coach or program or anything else that you're thinking of investing in your business. I am personally a huge fan of investing in your business and personal development, and I think it can be really powerful and really help you make huge leaps forward. But I'm a really big fan of investing strategically and not just throwing money at everything that comes your way, which can also be very easily done. I've seen plenty of people just get stuck in that kind of treadmill of keeping investing in things and not really getting anywhere. And I think it can be really tough at times to know what to invest in and not just to get pulled in by those shiny new things. So we're going to have a good look at that today and just help you to have a think today about why you're investing and making sure that you're doing that in a strategic way that really aligns with your business and is really going to help push things forward. Now, investing can feel really exciting and also really scary to us as well. We are really powerfully risk-averse creatures and we hate losing stuff. We especially hate losing money, which really represents to us security and safety, which are, if you think about it, fundamental, basic human needs. So it feels to us like there's a lot at stake when we're investing in something, and especially when it's a large sum of money. So every time we are challenged to invest, our subconscious brain kind of goes nuts. Even if it feels like a really great investment, it just gets triggered and it starts yelling at us, what if it goes wrong? What if we make the wrong decision? What if it all ends up being a big scam? What if I fail? And our brain's kind of going round and round in circles, telling us all these things that could possibly go wrong. In many ways, it actually is right to be really prudent and to make us question our decisions, because let's be honest, there's a lot of noise out there. There are lots of people wanting us to invest in their thing. And shall we say, there will be things of varying quality and value out there. Lots of wonderful programs, maybe the odd few that aren't quite so great. So it's sensible for us to really think things through. But definitely we do want to invest in the right things to grow, because it is so powerful and helpful. And I know from first-hand experience that you can spend ages trying to figure things out for yourself, or you can just fast track it all with somebody who's been there before, who knows exactly what to do to get you results and can help you stay accountable and stay focused on that journey so you get there so much quicker. So it's super powerful. It's also fantastic because it makes you show up. And I know a lot of people are very frightened of investing because they're maybe worried about losing the money and investing in the wrong things. So 2 things I would say. Firstly, if you are sweating that much over investing the money and it's causing you great concern, that's actually a really good sign, because it proves that it matters a lot to you. And if it matters a lot, then there is no way you're going to let yourself fail. It's actually a huge sign of recognition that you trust yourself to do this. And if you're investing a significant sum, then you're going to take action to make sure that you actually put that money to good use. So it's a real commitment to yourself and your business to do that. The second thing is, even if you do invest money and not get it quite right, then it's not the end of the world. And it often can feel as though it will be. And it feels like a huge personal thing to do is investing a sum of money. But we'll always learn a huge amount, even if those lessons aren't quite what we'd expect. So even if we come out of the back end of that course or program and learn that it's not quite the right thing for us, or it's just helped us refine what we do need in some way, then that in itself is a powerful lesson to learn. We have to start somewhere, and there is always a little bit of a risk, I think, in investing, even in the best and most well-known coaches. It's a leap of faith, and I think we have to take that leap of faith at some stage if we are going to succeed in business. Now, I work a lot on money mindset with my clients, and it's something we'll talk about in later episodes as well. But I think it's really, really important because it affects everything in your business. So if you're scared to invest, full stop, if you just won't go there, then that's something, maybe that's the first thing you actually really need to work on, because it's not going to go away. And the fact that you're perceiving there not to be enough money in the world right now for you, and that you're in this kind of scarcity mindset, as it's often referred to, that will be having a huge impact on things like your sales and on attracting clients too, because if you're thinking money is scarce, there's not enough money for me, it's really scary to invest, then you'll tend to also think that is true for other people as well. And you'll think there's not enough out there for other people too. And that scarcity will play into how you approach your clients and your sales calls and your messaging and everything that you do. So that scarcity mindset, even though we're not really aware of it, we'll be communicating that to the wider world as well. And they'll be feeling our sense of lack. And we'll be saying to the world, look, you can't afford to invest in me. And they will subconsciously get that. So having a great money mindset is partially about getting comfortable with that risk, trusting that you can let money go and that you can use it to help you, because at the end of the day, that is what it's there for. Money is there for nothing else other than as a tool to help us do those things we need in life. And when you really allow money to flow in that way, then it really does start to come back to you. And not necessarily talking in a woo kind of way. There's just such truth in that, I think. And there's that old phrase, isn't there, that we have to speculate to accumulate. And I think it's totally true. So that said, obviously we want you to get it as right as possible straight off, and that's why we are here today, to really dive into that for you and really help you make the right choices. So here are a few top tips, a few things to think about to make sure that you are investing wisely, because it's very, very easy to invest for all the wrong reasons, all those emotional reasons, the hype and the excitement and fear-based reasons, FOMO, fear of missing out, shiny object syndrome. I think we've all come across that one in our time. So you want to make sure that you're investing from the logical part of your brain, your rational mind, rather than the emotional bit, which is what tends to take over in most of our buying decisions. So first thing to think to yourself is, sounds really simple, but do I already know this? Is this course, program, coaching, whatever you're signing up to, is it something that you already know and you're just trying to reassure yourself that you do have that knowledge? It sounds very obvious, as I say, but how many times have you caught yourself downloading or reading the same kinds of things over and over and over again? How many different PDFs on ideal clients have you had, on pricing, all these sorts of things? We like to seek reassurance where we feel a bit nervous. And the emotional part of our brain will very conveniently forget what we already know and wave flags at us to say, oh, look at this, this is the answer. And it gets very, very excited because we're always looking for that one magic answer, aren't we? We're looking for the thing that's going to really help us take off. And so because of that, it's not uncommon to keep finding that we are doing the same courses over and over for that reassurance and for our mind to believe that we're finding the answer over and over again. And of course we're not. We're just doing the same thing over and over, and then we look back and think, why did I spend that money? I didn't really get any further with that. And often it's because our brain feels that these things are at our level, they feel comfortable, they feel familiar, they feel like territory that we know. And that's how people so often get trapped in kind of perpetual learning and just doing courses and things over and over to almost feel safe and reassured and comfortable in what they're investing in. And so make sure that you're doing something that aligns with your goals, that really is teaching you new things and filling in gaps that you don't already have in your knowledge bank. It's kind of quite nice sometimes just to remind yourself of what you've done in the past and just have a look back through all those old course notes and things and just make sure that you know what you know. And also make sure that whatever you're going to do challenges you a bit, because it's so easy for us just to stick within that comfort zone and keep doing the same sorts of things over and over. So have a look and see if the thing that you are thinking of investing in is actually going to push you on a little bit further. So a really great way to do this is just to sit down and think about what you really need in your business when you are not under pressure to invest. The time to do this is not when you are in the midst of thinking about investing in a new course or program, but when you are sitting down and maybe planning on your goals and the things you want to achieve in your business, just taking some time along with that to say, okay, so I want to get here. What are the things that I'm going to need? Where are my areas of knowledge that I need to brush up on to help me get there? And have a real think about your plan for the future. And don't just do things because you think it's something you don't know and perhaps you ought to know that. Often we will do courses just because we feel like that's an area that we don't understand. Does it actually fit in with your strategy though? Is it something you really need to know? Or is it something maybe that you could outsource, or that it doesn't even fit within your customer journey at all? And if you don't know yet what your strategy is and your plan for the future is, then maybe that's where you need to start. Maybe it's a case of needing to get the basic building blocks in place of how to get to where you want to in your business. So in that instance, a very strategic coach could really help you fill in those knowledge gaps. If you already have a good idea of what to do and you kind of know the ropes and you know the basic strategic stuff, but you're just not managing to pull it all together, then it could be actually that you need some help with confidence or with the implementation side of things, or even just pulling what you already know together to help it make sense for you, because so often it's difficult to do that for ourselves, and a good coach can help you just really pick out those bits and pieces from your mind and put them all together, and give you something logical to move forward with. Often we don't see where we're holding ourselves back, so having somebody that's able to do that for us can be really, really helpful again. And in that case, maybe better off actually looking for somebody who can support you with mindset and confidence rather than a very step-by-step strategic program. So it's about thinking, what is it I need? What's the balance between mindset and strategy here? Now, I've also found that a lot of people come to me when they've realised that they've been investing in programs that haven't really taught them anything new. And they've just been doing them because they've lost confidence and maybe been persuaded that they don't have the answers. So personally, I think unless you're right at the beginning of your journey, the chances are that you do have most of what you need to get to where you want to be already. So sometimes it's just even that we need to find the confidence to do it and to be honest with ourselves and say, all I need to do actually is to set aside some time and make a plan and start doing this thing. And you can do that by yourself, or you could invest in getting some help again on the confidence, motivation and procrastination side of things, just to help you get that plan together and start taking action. So I work on both mindset and strategy with my clients. And honestly, the strategy side is pretty straightforward once you know the ropes. What tends to hold most people back is the mindset. It might be that you need very specific things, like somebody to help with graphics or help with your website, for example. And maybe in the instance of your website, it's worth actually really thinking into the detail of, well, what parts of that do I need help with? And where do I really want to go? Is it a case of moving platforms and getting a whole new website designed? Is it just some help with the SEO? Are there just tweaks you need to make? And really thinking about exactly what you need before you start looking for some help, so that you can really be specific in who you're talking to and not end up getting pulled in the wrong direction and investing in something that you really don't need to. So what's the result you're going to want at the end, and is what you're investing in going to leave you in the right place? Always a really good question to ask. Now, another great question that you can ask to decide whether something is right for you is, if this course, program, whatever, if it weren't an option, if it wasn't on the menu right now, what else would I be looking to invest in at this moment in time? Would I be looking for this exact same course or for something very similar? Or is it just that this has popped up in my life and it started to look very attractive? Now that can really help you separate want from need, which are actually two very, very different things. So if you take away the option of doing that course and that thing that you're drawn towards, would you miss it? Would you be looking for something to fill that gap? Personally, I like to keep a little wish list now of things that I really want to invest in. So I will sit down and plan out my goals and where I'd like to be in a few months' time, and then again strategically think about all the things that are going to help me get there and what will really benefit me to invest in. And if it's not on that list, then chances are it's not important enough. So it's also really worth thinking about the coach themselves or whoever's running the program and whether their values really align with yours. So thinking about investing in business coaches, how do they do what they're doing in their business? Are they, for example, very social media driven, very heavy on that side of things? Is that what you really want in your business? Are they using sales tools and tactics that you like or that you don't like? Do they do things that make you feel under pressure or that you would feel uncomfortable doing? People tend to teach what they know. So if there's something about their style or about the way that they come across to their audience, if there's something that's sort of ringing alarm bells and saying to you, no, I can't see myself wanting to do things the way they do them, that's probably a good sign that it's not a good idea to go there. So I had an experience a little while ago with somebody who seemed like a very lovely, very knowledgeable coach who tried to push me into their program without me really even inquiring about that program in the first place. And then when I said, no, I don't think this is the right time for me, they tried to use very pressure-based, very fear-based tactics and sales techniques to make me feel like I needed their help and really put on the emotional pressure. And quite honestly, I would have been interested to invest with them because they were so knowledgeable and so helpful in other areas. But the minute that started to happen, I just thought, I don't like the chasing and the pressure, and that's not how I want to do things in my business. And if they're going to do that to me, then the chances are they're going to be teaching me that in terms of selling as well. And so I decided that it wasn't for me. I didn't want any part of it right then and there. Now, emotionally, it was tempting. I have to say, I was a bit torn. I was a bit on the fence because they were pushing all my buttons, telling me what I could have if I took their course and how amazing life would be, and highlighting what would happen if I didn't. So there was a real strong emotional drive to invest in them because they seemed to have the answer to all my problems and everything I wanted. But I'm very glad that I just stepped back and logically thought things through, because when I did that, logically I realised I didn't want to learn those sorts of methods, and chances are I'd be sat there on that course in a few weeks' time not feeling very comfortable about having to sell in a certain way. So I think watch people for a while, think about whether they're treating you as you would like to treat other people, be in their world, try to stay detached and objective. And lots of coaches do teach very, very similar things, but just in very different ways, or maybe have completely different personalities. So I think that's really important too, just to find somebody that you gel with, and think about what will work for you. And it should be a really harmonious relationship where you feel comfortable, where you feel able to ask things and to show up as yourself and completely honestly. Talking about that in a bit more detail, do have a think about whether it's also the right structure for you. So are you somebody who is maybe going to get a lot out of being in a group, or do you need to work one-to-one with somebody to really open up and get the benefit? And so I've done masterminds before, and one of them, I just found that the group size was too big for me to feel really comfortable opening up and kind of sharing all about my business and where I was during the hot seat coaching. So I found that although it was a great program, I really didn't get the most out of the coaching. And I think in retrospect, I'd have been a lot better working maybe one-to-one with that coach for a few sessions, or doing a different program that was in a smaller group. Later on, I did do a smaller mastermind, and I felt I was in a much better place to be able to talk about my business and where I was on my journey. And that worked really well for me. And I think that's partly just down to me feeling happier in a smaller group, but also having done a lot of work on my own mindset by that point. But thanks to that first experience, as I was saying earlier, we don't always learn quite what we expect to learn from things, but they're always a good lesson. So thanks to that, I've been able to really reflect on that and make my own mastermind a hybrid. So there's the group element and everything that goes goes along with that in terms of support and accountability and having people on the same journey, but also bring in some one-to-one sessions as well for those more private discussions and to help people really dig down into their own business and make sure they're getting that support. So that was a really valuable lesson, and it was quite a lot of money I invested, and it really feels worth it from that point of view, just to have learned how I would do things differently to them. So final couple of things to think about. So of course, it's also really important to think about the money that you're going to invest. And I would say less in terms of the actual amount and have I got that money sitting there right now, but more in terms of what will the return on investment be, and is it likely to help me make some good money back. So like I said at the top of the show, we're very good at convincing ourselves that we don't have the money, however much it is that we're going to invest. I've definitely done this before. So our emotional brain forgets or overlooks things like our savings, because basically it wants to make sure that we hang on to some safety. It wants to make sure that we've got that security there. So it won't kind of, when we're thinking, have I got the right amount of money to part with for this program? It won't look at that, and it won't help us remember all those little bits we've got tucked away. It will just flag up on our radar that no, I've not made much money over the last couple of months, or there's nothing sitting in my current account at the moment. I don't have the money. And that's not always true. So full disclosure, I'm definitely not up for encouraging anyone to go into debt and invest money that they genuinely don't have. Like I said, this has to be a rational decision, and there are definitely times when it is not a good idea to invest. The risk you're prepared to take, I think, is a very personal decision. So I don't think anybody should ever push you into going into debt to invest in their program or course or whatever. But do question whether you genuinely don't have it, or whether it's just that you're telling yourself you're scared to lose that money, because that's quite a different thing. So think about how much of a difference this could make in your life and your business. And if you've been struggling along for a few months and you're not getting anywhere, ask yourself, is anything going to change if I don't do something differently and get some help? So what are the chances that doing more of the same, struggling along for a few more months, is going to get me the results? And weighing that up against the chances of taking a bit of a risk and investing in something that is probably more likely to get you a result. So what are the chances that taking that risk and investing is actually going to get you where you want to be? And I'd like to bet that even though it feels like more of a risk, investing is actually probably the less risky option, and much less risky than staying still and doing the same things again. So it's just carefully considering what's most likely to be the right investment for you. There's always going to be some risk there, but just taking it in your stride as being prepared to not get it 100% right, going with what you think is best, trusting your intuition, that's so powerful, so often right, and being prepared to take that little bit of a risk, because it's always there in business and we have to do that to get anywhere. Final thing, how much do you trust yourself? Will I make it worth the investment? That's probably the biggest question of all, because it really is down to us to make the most of things, however much we invest. I often see people wasting way more money on lots of little tiny courses that they never complete because they don't feel the pressure to make it work. When we're investing a smaller amount, it's often just not perceived as that valuable to us. So it feels like it doesn't matter if we don't do it. But I've seen people waste hundreds, if not thousands of pounds on little courses and little bits and pieces that they're investing in just for a bit of distraction or just because they think they should. Whereas if they invested in just one big program that would really make all the difference to them, with a coach they really loved and really got on with and really had wonderfully aligned values, then that money would come back to them so many times over. Because no matter how good the course, it's always down to you and whether you're going to put in that time and effort to make your investment worthwhile. And even the best course in the world, unless you're prepared to do that, it's not going to be worth the money. So that's my little summary today of what you should consider before you invest in your next course or program. I'd love you to get in touch and just let me know what your biggest takeaway was from today's episode, whether anything really resonated or hit home with you, and whether it's made you think about things a little bit differently or reconsider some things that you're thinking of investing in. You can email me at the address in the show notes or join my Facebook group, which is called Unblock Your Business, Mindset, Strategic and Subconscious Alignment. And we'll be discussing this, and you can share your thoughts with other like-minded people facing exactly the same challenges as you. And of course, as always, I'd really appreciate any reviews and shares. And if you're sharing on social, just use the hashtag Unblock Your Business to help us get found. Thank you so much. I hope that's been helpful, and I will see you next week. Take care. Thanks for listening. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, it would be incredible if you could pop a review on iTunes, Google, Spotify, or your favourite podcast platform. And if you want to dive deeper, you can find me in my free Facebook group, Align Your Mind for Limitless Success, or at www.abigail-rogers.com. See you next week.